Now, it does seem just like 5 minutes ago when I first laced up the new Brooks Ghost Max and took them out for their first run, and you know, I can't believe how quickly time flies. Now, the run went well, they performed and felt nice out there on that first run, and it was a bit of a surprise to me because if I'm honest, in the past I have found some Brooks running shoes to feel, you know, a little bit boring. You know, they're always well made and dependable, but they don't feel that exciting. However, the Ghost Max has just gone through another update, and Brooks have been kind enough to send me a pair to test on the channel in this rather odd looking blue and teal colorway. Now, don't adjust your sets, folks, because this is a men's colour option. But anyway, let's give you a few stats about the shoe, then I'm going to be getting them on my feet and we're going to be bringing you guys along on the first run. Yep, it's first impressions time. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again. I'm Lloyd Purvis and this is Run4Adventure. So let's get stuck straight into the new Brooks Ghost Max 2. So this is their latest deeply cushioned neutral daily trainer. So that shoe in your rotation that you're going to reach for when you just want to go out for those steady training miles throughout the week and you want some comfort and something that feels nice and dependable. They're not actually available. This is an early pair, so hopefully you should be able to get your hands on them sort of early to mid-August, so you're not going to have to wait long. As far as the price goes, they're going to retail in the UK for around about £140, so that's $150 in the US. As far as the weight goes, my pair in a UK 9.5 tips the scales at 327 grams, and you know, it's not the lightest sort of training shoe option out there, and it is a shame to see them increase in weight. So these are actually 14 grams heavier than the original version, and you know, I'm not a massive fan of that, and you'd think when these running brands make updates, they'd make improvements to the shoe, and maybe the weight going down would have been one of them improvements, but never mind. We've also got this latest DNA Loft V3 nitrogen injected midsole that runs off a 6mm heel offset. When it comes to the construction, it looks like there's only been a very subtle update this time round, and this upper design does look very similar to that of the previous version, which isn't a bad thing because I found that upper extremely comfortable. And you know, Brooks do tend to make a very plush feeling running shoe, so we got this sort of traditional upper design, lots of small perforation over that engineered mesh just for a bit of added breathability. Good levels of padding around the ankle collar, in the heel and in the tongue of the shoe. And we have got that same standard tongue design that we got on the Ghost Max, which I personally think is a bit of a shame. I would have liked to have seen maybe a gusseted tongue this time round, just to give you that nice sort of foot hugging, secure lockdown feel around your midfoot. The bigger updates come in the form of this new DNA Loft V3 nitrogen injected midsole, and it's actually very similar to what we tested out on the standard Brooks Ghost a few months ago. However, you do get a lot more of the stuff in the Max version, so this should offer us lots of nice comfortable cushioning and underfoot protection when we're getting in all those training miles on the hard stuff. Brooks have also worked in their glide roll rocker, so we've got a rocker geometry to provide a nice smooth transition from heel to toe to keep your running form nice and efficient, and we're also going to be sunk a bit lower into the midsole this time, so we've got higher sidewalls, so that should give you a nice sort of secure, stable ride. And for a neutral running shoe with this wide platform and the fact that we've now got those higher sidewalls, it should be a pretty stable platform to run off. And then finishing up, we get a good helping of blown rubber on the outsole in all the high wear areas, so this should give us good levels of durability when we're racking up all those training miles. Brooks have also worked in these little flex screws on the medial and lateral edge of that midsole just to try and improve flexibility, and considering this is a deeply cushioned midsole, the flex of the midfoot and the forefoot is pretty good. But there you have it, a bit of info about the new Ghost Max 2 from Brooks, but now it's time to take them out for their first run, and I actually fancy running somewhere a bit different today. Now, don't get me wrong, Cornwall is a beautiful place to run and train, I love it, but every now and again it's good to shake things up. So let's give the old YouTube magic a go. So let's see where we end up. So 3, 2, 1. Wow. Well done, YouTube magic. You have excelled this time. You've outdone yourself. So if you follow the channel, you'll probably recognize this view. This is the running track in Chamonix, and up there hiding behind the clouds is Mont Blanc. So well done, YouTube. I think the best thing we can do is let's make the most of this running track. We'll do a couple of loops of the track, then we'll get out on the hard stuff and we'll give the new Brooks Ghost Max 2 a thorough testing. Okay, so that is 3.6 miles done already on a big mix of terrain. So we had the running track, we've had a bit of gravel path, and now we're back on the hard stuff, the tarmac. It's pretty early in the morning and it's quite warm. I think it's about 23 degrees already. And you know, because I was teleported to Chamonix, I haven't been able to acclimatise to the elevation either. So Chamonix is at about 1,100 metres. So I'm just bobbing along at sort of 8:30-minute miling and I'm out of breath. Yep, I'm going to keep the YouTube magic joke going, don't worry about it. But anyway, let's talk about the shoe. So first impressions on that new DNA Loft V3 nitrogen injected midsole are good. You know, it feels soft, it feels bouncy, definitely feels a bit softer than the previous version of the shoe. That wasn't a nitrogen injected midsole. It feels like it's giving me a bit more bounce and a bit more energy return. I gotta say, in the past I have found some Brooks midsoles just to be a little bit too firm for my liking, especially with all the new development and running shoe midsoles getting softer and bouncier. But this new DNA Loft V3 does feel really nicely cushioned, and I'd say probably the best Brooks midsole that I've run with. So definitely a positive start to the run, but we've got to get these miles done this morning. We're going to try and hit 8 miles today in the new Brooks shoe, so we better crack on. Look at all the mist coming off the river. Oh, it's awesome. It's nice and cool here. So we're 6 miles in, you can see the river beside me, and if you've ever followed the UTMB coverage, when the runners are coming back in town, this is where they're running. So you run all the way through here, all the way through town, back to that iconic finish line in front of the church. Amazing finish coming down here. Lots of support, lots of encouragement, lots of cheering, and it has to be one of the best trail race finishes in the world. But as far as the shoe's going, still performing well. Really enjoying the feel of this new nitrogen injected midsole. Shoe fitting true to size as Brooks tend to, and the upper is very Brooks-like, you know. Good lockdown around my midfoot, good hold in the heel, nice and plush, nice and comfortable. Not sure how breathable it is, but you know, let's get back to the adventure bus, not the studio, and we'll wrap this video up with a quick conclusion. Okay, so we are back at our campsite studio, and I think you'll agree, a rather impressive mountain backdrop. I do apologise if there's a bit of noise. Obviously there's camper vans pulling in, people setting up tents, and people just genuinely having a great time. So obviously we are back in Chamonix and we are building up to UTMB, where League is going to be taking on the challenging 100 kilometres and 6,100 metres of elevation of the CCC in around 3 weeks. And if you've been following us on our other social media platforms, you can already see that we've had some epic mountain adventures, but there is plenty more to come. So why not hit that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when we upload any new content, and you won't miss any of this amazing Chamonix series. Also, you could pop along to Instagram and follow the Run4Adventure Instagram page as well. But let's dive into how the new Ghost Max 2 performed out there on today's run. And I actually mentioned it several times during the run. I'm a big fan of this new foam, and I think with that DNA Loft V3 being nitrogen injected, it's just added a nice level of bounce to that midsole. Definitely when I compare it to other Brooks shoes I've run in the past. I wouldn't say it's as bouncy as, say, Saucony's Power Run PB or Nike's Zoom X, but it was definitely comfortable, and I think over time, as I put more miles into the shoe, it should bed in nicely and maybe offer even a bit more energy return. There was a couple of times out on the run where I had to run on some stony paths and some rocky trails, and the Ghost Max actually felt nice and planted and pretty stable for a deeply cushioned neutral daily trainer. Now, don't get me wrong, this is out and out a road shoe, but it handled that uneven ground really well. I'm also happy to see that they've kept the 6mm heel offset on the Ghost Max, which definitely works better for me when I compare it to the 10mm offset on the standard Ghost. As far as the new upper design goes, it's not a million miles away from the previous version, so we've got a good level of padding around the ankle collar and in the tongue, and actually I'm not too sure whether it's too much padding because my feet did get quite warm out there today. It was about 22 to 23 degrees, and by the end of the run my feet were quite hot. However, it was very comfortable wrapped around my foot, so nice and plush internally, no rubbing, no irritation or anything like that. And I would say the new Ghost Max 2 gives a sort of average width in that toe box. So for me, good wiggle room, and I'm sure when the shoe is released, they'll offer some width fits because Brooks are pretty good for that. So you should be able to get a wider model if you have a bit more width to your foot shape. The only real negatives I had was number one, the weight. You know, at 327 grams in a UK 9.5, it is pretty heavy, and you know, I'd like to see it a little bit lighter, maybe closer to 300 grams. I think it would improve the overall performance and make them feel a little bit more responsive. And then lastly, one of my pet hates when it comes to running shoes, I had to stop mid-run and re-tie these laces to get a better lockdown around my midfoot because I felt like I was slipping around a bit in the upper. I actually think it comes down to the laces because these laces are super stretchy. I personally think they're way too stretchy, so it does make it very hard to get a nice tight lockdown around your midfoot. So there you have it, folks, my first impressions of Brooks Running's latest deeply cushioned neutral daily trainer, the Ghost Max 2. All in all, a pretty positive run, and I'm really happy with some of the new updates made to the shoe. Obviously, this is just my initial thoughts after today's run, and over the next month or so, I'll be getting some good miles in these, and then we'll be back with a full in-depth review. You can see behind me, like I said earlier, we are based in Chamonix for probably the next month or 5 or 6 weeks. So, you know, this is the trail running mecca of the world. So I'm going to be spending most of my time with a pair of trail running shoes on my feet. So you might have to wait a little bit of time for a full review of the new Ghost Max 2 to appear on the channel. Really hope you enjoyed the video. Really hope you found it helpful, guys. If you did, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've got any questions about the new Brooks shoe, please feel free to get them in the comments below. I'm just about to head off and get our kit ready for another epic day out in the mountains tomorrow, myself and Liga. We've got an awesome route planned, so it should be a great day of running. But for now, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting the channel, it's really appreciated. We'll be back here soon with some more amazing mountain running content, and as always, stay safe and keep on running.